And just like that, we are back again with another episode of the Mind the Growth podcast. As always, I am Chris Kinghorn.
And I'm Eric Hoffman.
Eric, so just overall market view. We've got the stock market slowly treading along, maybe a little bit of a slight uptrend. We've got CPI, I think it was 7.7, so we're plus or minus. What else is going on in the world?
There's only one thing that matters. It's the
should hit the fan.
Yeah, the FTX saga. SBF has really screwed a lot of people, and the entire company blew up in the matter of a few days. And I have some personal baggage, so we can get into that as well. But wow.
I think as a precursor to that, we need to just clarify that this podcast is not sponsored by FTX.
And we had no involvement in the alleged fraud that is clearly occurring with that company.
We took no money. We have no affiliate links. We are in the clear on this. So you were personally affected by this. What was I'm not going to ruin the story. Let's hear it.
So the story is pretty clear. I had absolutely all of my crypto in FTX US as of Sunday, November 6th. So just a brief backstory. I think I've even talked on this podcast that I recommended FTX at one point because the user interface was so easy, clean. There was a lot of features that were nice, and it seemed to a lot of people, including me, that they were just another bank in the crypto space. They were financially solvent. They were doing all the right things. SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, was the hero of the crypto world. And so I figured, okay, screw the Winklevoss twins. I had my money in Gemini. They seem a little suspicious. Why not go with the nerd in shining armor? So I moved all of my crypto to FTX US, and that's where it's been sitting for the past, 8 months or a year or something. And so
let's pause it there for a quick second. I have to say, I went down the rabbit hole of a variety of different exchanges, writing a script so you could have
right.
an opportunity. You can have the best fee only when you're buying, and then have that automatically put into cold storage.
Yeah.
You should can that idea.
Yeah. That was terrible. And I made the comparison that this is what banks do all the time. They have billions of dollars in reserves, and they're FDIC insured, which I don't believe FTX was, but I really have no idea at this point. But it seemed, again, based on the public information that was available at the time, that they were in the green by billions of dollars above their customer deposits. And that's at least what they were saying publicly. And so I figured, okay, if my deposits are covered more than they would be at Chase Bank, meaning if I have over $250,000 in Chase Bank, I'm only FDIC insured up to $250,000. So if there was a bank run at Chase, they only carry, are they legally obligated to 25% of customer deposits by law?
I don't know what they need to have on hand. I'm not sure.
Yeah, either way.
Or not even on hand, but
right. If there was a bank run at Chase, then nobody would get their funds. It's just a fact. And so I figured, well, if this crypto exchange has more money than they are taking in customer funds, that's technically safer. Boy, was I wrong. So we've seen a few blowups in the past couple of months. Celsius, Luna, Three Arrows Capital, the hedge fund. There's been a bunch that have gone to zero, essentially, due to fraud and other nefarious activity. So with FTX, over the past couple of weeks, apparently Sam had made a comment to CZ, the owner of Binance, the biggest crypto exchange in the world, that he he was talking about some sort of legislation in DC that he was working on, and then somebody commented on CZ, and I think he made a comment like, "Can CZ even come to DC?" As if he's like some rogue agent of the Chinese Communist Party, which may be true, by the way. Who knows? So that pissed him off, and then CZ, because he was the first investor into FTX, he basically tweeted that, okay, you're going to play that game. I'm going to start offloading all of my FTT tokens, which were tokens FTX created out of thin air for investors and other purposes. And they still had, I think it was like $500 million of FTT tokens that CZ and Binance announced they were going to offload.
Didn't, yeah. Why was I thinking it was 260 million? I don't have the numbers in front of me. Something like that.
I recall him tweeting something about 500 million worth of FTT tokens. The number could be slightly off, but regardless, that's a lot of FTT tokens to offload, which is essentially going to drive the price of FTT tokens down to zero. So with that threat, everyone saw the proof in the pudding. And even so, one more thing before that happened, there was a leak of the Alameda Research balance sheet, which is the hedge fund that
Right.
Sam owned. And that did not look like a good picture. It looked as though Alameda had more liabilities than assets, and the majority of their assets were these FTT tokens, which is essentially, again, were created out of thin air and didn't really have a true market value. It's just whatever people at the time were willing to pay for it. And it was mostly to compensate investors. And Sam was trying to make it more into a utility within FTX, offering different perks by purchasing it.
It was an ultimate money glitch.
Yeah.
He was able to create these, and then he was able to sell it at a certain valuation, load those up on
Exactly.
Alameda on the balance sheet to show this massive,
As a
balance sheet, and then he was able to borrow against
Yeah.
that.
Yep. And so that all unraveled pretty quickly. And so this was all between, I think it was Friday, November 4th through Sunday, November 6th. This was all playing out on Twitter. And so there was a lot of talk about, hey, there's going to be a bank run and FTX is going to explode. And I, at the time, unfortunately, was just getting over COVID. And so I wasn't paying too close attention. But I saw that and I started to sell some of my positions on FTX, like I would say probably 10% of what I had on there. I had low six figures of capital in FTX. And so that's a lot of money. And I was like, well, I better get at least some out. So on Sunday the 6th, I sold a few of my positions and did an ACH withdrawal to my bank account for about 10% of what I held. And I was like, all right, let's see if this shows up tomorrow when, the bank opens, because it was supposed to be pretty quick. And then I'll take it from there. So Monday comes around. I pull up Twitter right when I wake up. Everyone's freaking out, saying, get out of FTX. It's going to go to zero. So I quickly log on, sell everything else, and do a wire transfer as soon as I can. I think I issued the wire transfer at like 7:04 a.m. or something. And I crossed my fingers. I'm like, well, I may not have access to any of this money ever again. But I kept reading what Sam was tweeting out, and he kept saying, like, the issues going on were FTX.com and FTX US was not affected whatsoever. It was a totally separate system and bank account, etc.
Didn't he delete that though?
I don't know if he deleted it or not.
There's a few of them where he said everything's fine, and then he ended up deleting them.
I mean, he made a lot of claims that they had more money than customer deposits, which again turned out to be incorrect. Hence their bankruptcy filing. But we'll get to that. So I issued the ACH withdrawal and the wire transfer for everything that I had on there. Sold all my positions, which was kind of a lucky break anyways, because over the weekend there was a pretty big pump in crypto. I think I wound up selling, I had the majority of my funds in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think I sold when Bitcoin was at like 20,500, and Ethereum was at, I want to say like high 1500s, something like that, maybe low 1600s. So it was at a local peak. So I sold those positions at a randomly great time considering what's played out since then. Because now I think Bitcoin's hovering around 16,000 or something around there. Ethereum,
Yeah.
12,
Ethereum's like
1300.
1200 or so.
Yeah. So I would have lost even more money just waiting. But no matter what, I issued it and crossed my fingers. So come Tuesday, the 8th, that was pretty much after everything had played out. FTX and Sam had been tweeting that, hey, we're pausing withdrawals because there's a bank run and we don't have enough money. We're considering bankruptcy. All those types of things started to come out. And I log on and I see the ACH wound up going through on Tuesday, but the bigger chunk, the 90% of the money that I had, that I did the wire transfer, it still showed as pending on FTX, like not even approved or processing. It was just a pending request. So I'm like, God damn it. How am I gonna tell Rana about this? But regardless, I waited, and then about 6 hours later, it went through and it hit my account. So I got lucky. I got all my money out, and a lot of people didn't. So wild. And I currently have $0 exposed to crypto as we speak. And I do not know when I'm going to jump back in or how, because it's just a mess right now. And there's a very low confidence in the public and just in me in general. I have a bit of PTSD currently on all things crypto.
It's fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know how many bullets I can dodge to make it worthwhile. So yeah, I'm sitting on some cash right now, trying to figure out what to do with it.
Well, it's funny. We had a conversation not too long ago about a lack of dry powder. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I think ultimately I'm gonna probably start to do the smart thing and just DCA into the S&P 500 and some boring stuff. But I don't know. Time will tell. We'll play it by ear, and maybe I'll see something else. What do you think?
I think, well, I'm curious. So if you look at what your total cost was, do you think over the last 5 years or 3 years, however long it's been, did you make money or did you lose money?
I haven't calculated it, so I'd be
curious what that figure looks like.
I would guess I'm either very close to break even or I'm down slightly. Because originally in 2017, when I started to load up, I wasn't purchasing that much at the time. I think the extent of what I purchased was like 25 or 30 grand of Ethereum and Bitcoin, which at the time, I think my cost basis for Ethereum was around $1,000 a token, because that was the first initial run up. And then Bitcoin, I think my cost basis was closer to 10 or 12 grand a Bitcoin. I'd have to look back and see, but I've been buying in chunks all the way up and then all the way down. So I bought some Bitcoin at, 50 grand. I also bought some at 20 grand. I've bought Ethereum anywhere from $800 to $3,500. So overall, I've been more active on the higher end, but I think my cost basis is still probably around what I sold it for.
What you're at. Yeah. Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
which
expensive learning curve.
Yeah, isn't that great of an investment?
No. So if you came to this channel for investment advice, obviously you should not be taking investment. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly.
Entertainment purposes only.
I learned a whole lot and had a whole lot of fun along the journey.
And we could go back to my joking about VOO and VTI, but hey, If
It's
you would have put that money into VOO or VTI over the last 3 to 5 years.
it's a tried and true method. So I'm considering it now more than ever. And that's probably the way I should be investing my time and money, because I've learned pretty clearly I am not the smart person in the room when it comes to investing in crypto or stocks. There's a lot more people out there that are either smarter or more fraudulent, that
Luckier.
will either take my money against my will or will do better in investing it. So yeah, been an expensive lesson, but it is what it is.
You made it out whole.
Yeah.
We are still in one piece. We are good to go.
Yeah. Speaking of investments, though, friends of the pod, our buddy Mike and Andrew, they're raising again for a second building, so that's exciting.
They are, yeah.
I hopefully the first one turns out great, considering the market, but we'll have to look into that one too. Maybe that'll be another
Yeah,
place to park.
that would be a good idea. They're doing about, was it 1.25 or something like that in a raise, so
Yeah,
it'll be
something like that.
be a little bit more sizable. Yeah, if anybody's interested in investing in a multifamily new development in Vegas, give us a shout and we can link you in with the outdoor guys,
Yeah,
the Arter guys.
Arter. Yeah, yeah. So that's been a wild week and a half in the markets and crypto in general. I don't know where things are going to go. I don't know what else is going to blow up, but I'm going to be watching from the sidelines for the near future.
Until you get the itch.
Do you have yours all on cold storage?
Yes, everything I own is now in cold storage.
Yeah, I've been helping my dad and brother offload over the last week and a half.
Yeah, about a month or so ago, I spent some time with my dad and got all of his stuff into in the cold storage as well too.
Yeah,
it's just it was sad to look back at. I think in November of last year, I have
peak.
a lot less. Yeah, I have a lot less in it than you do, but I was hovering right over $100,000, and I think my accounts now are, I don't know, $15,000. So it's almost sad to keep that.
Yeah,
it's in cold storage. Exciting. I might as well just sell it at this point, but
yeah,
we'll hold on.
Yeah, I mean, same sort of thing happened. I remember in 2018 when everything crashed and Bitcoin was just chilling around 5-6 grand for a long time, maybe even down to 3, and Ethereum dipped to like $100 to $200 a token. It stayed there for 2 years, I think. Right. 2 years until 2020, and when the pandemic boosted everything. So, yeah, I mean, it looks bad now, but the technology is still revolutionary, in my opinion, and we'll see what winds up happening. The biggest concern for me, frankly, with Bitcoin in particular, is how the network's going to continue to be mined and stay stable, because miners are actively losing money every block they mine. It costs more money in energy to mine than it does to earn Bitcoin. So I don't know how that model is sustainable over a long period. So I'm curious how that's going to play out.
I'm also looking at if 99% of the people are saying that we are going into a recession if we're not already in one.
Right.
Amazon today came out and said, was it 10 to 15,000 jobs that they're cutting? Large tech company after large tech company is saying that they are cutting jobs. So discretionary income is any not extra there. Dollars that people have now is tomorrow, is it still going to be there? Inflation still, I mean, granted, it's going down. I think it was 7.7. So it is down compared to what it was for the last report. But for the next 6, 12, 18 months, are people really going to want to dump money into Bitcoin? Are they going to want to dump money into Ethereum, Cardano, Solana? I don't think the answer is yes. So I think it's just going to get worse and worse out there.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure what the next 12 to 24 months is going to look like, but it's not looking like a rosy picture right now. That's for sure.
It is not. So stay strong out there. All our Mind the Growth followers. We appreciate you.
Yeah. And until next time, hopefully we have some good news on our next meetup.
Sounds good. We'll stay strong and we'll talk to you guys
All
soon.
right. Bye.